This episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn more about Boss Rush Media's family of podcasts, head on over to bossrushmedia.com or patreon.com/bossrushmedia. Thanks for your continued support.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, LeRon Dawkins. What's up, everyone?
What's poppin'?
All right. Yes. Thank you. And alongside me, as always, is the Mad Pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Cheers.
And the one, the only, PK Power, Pat Klein.
Cheers.
By the way, because I've been wondering about this for a while. I know PK is actually a play on your initials, but is that also like the sound from one of the attacks from Super Smash Brothers?
Yes.
Found.
Ness.
Yep.
He goes,
Ness.
PK
Okay.
Power! And then he
Yes,
shoots
okay,
out the little electrical thing and he whoop.
Okay.
See,
Yep.
it lives rent-free in my head, this useless fact.
That's
Well,
facts, though.
All right, so if you guys are wondering where Corey's at, Corey's got work things. You know, he's getting blitzed at his holiday Christmas party for his job. So you know,
Yeah,
like,
he's better than us. He thinks he's better than us.
Yeah. So Corey, stay frosty, my friend. Yeah. But speaking of frosty, my God, it's freaking cold.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, like it's freaking.
Yeah, we all live
It's
in
nuts.
areas that get cold winters, right? So where are y'all
Yes.
sitting? Here I am saying y'all like I'm from Texas, but where y'all sitting at right now? Right now I'm at a healthy 32 degrees.
Let's see. Right now it says 40 and clear. And that's definitely an improvement from where it was at on Monday. Because Monday, it was like in the upper 20s.
I have 33 and clear.
Look at that,
Feels like
beating y'all.
27.
Oh, of course, because you're up there in
Windy.
witch's tit, like freaking
The frozen
freaking
tundra.
New England.
Oh,
The origin of the witches.
Well, you know, it's one of those things where I try not to complain about it too much because if it was a warm winter in New England, then there's a much bigger concern to be had.
Yeah.
This I actually prefer, by the way, running outside when it's cooler, like between as long as it's above freezing, like mid 30s to 40s, I actually run the best. I know it's kind of really weird to say. So I'm okay with it. I mean, what bothers me more about wintertime is that it gets dark at 3 o'clock more than the cold weather. I guess I'm just used to it. And I'm spoiled because I have this nice little fake fireplace next to me. So when I'm recording and I'm cold, I just anyway.
How early does it get dark for you up there in the north? Because I'd say about 5 o'clock, about 5:20, 5:30, like that's when it starts getting dark over here in my neck of the woods in Virginia.
Like at 3 o'clock, like it's not setting, but I'm like, oh man, it's late afternoon. Sunset today was 4:14.
Good
yeah,
grief!
it's usually dark
Yeah.
by 4-ish.
Good grief! Golden hour.
Mhm.
Golden hour is a no good time of the day for you guys right now.
The good
Yeah.
news is because it's Christmas time, things are decorated, so it is nice to go home.
It
at
is nice to
night
see the
with
lights.
seeing Christmas lights.
Yeah, it is nice to see the lights. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Like
Mhm.
I'm a humbug, but I do like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once January comes around, it's gonna suck.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, that's what I'm trying to explain. Like December, yeah, it's dark and it's cold, but you at least got the merry lights from Hanukkah and Christmas to kind of help you forget about that. But when it's January, February, it's just sucks. To
Yeah,
no good reason.
All right, so I mean, you know, we can just go ahead and skip right on into the what we've been playing section. You know what, Pat, you always go last in these rounds, so I'm gonna let you go first this time.
What? No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah.
buddy.
I think that's because Corey hates me talking about my video games. It's like,
Which
oh my
doesn't make
gosh,
sense
Patrick
because
is
you're the
going
one
to
that plays the
drone.
Yeah,
most.
yeah, exactly, exactly. You're the one that brings the content when it comes to
Hmm.
this segment of the show.
I mean, before we get into this, that you know how 2023 announced like all their wraps, like Xbox, Nintendo, and Sony have
Yeah.
wraps. So I combined all my totals, and I had a whopping 1,696 hours, which of course was probably as of last week. So I'm well over 1,700 hours of video game playing this year.
Jesus
Hot
Christ.
diggity dog.
Jesus Christ, my guy.
I know. I literally have no other life other than to play video games. Like seriously,
Hey,
that
hey,
is
that's a
if you
life though. That is a life.
like just to break this down to statistical numbers, that is over 2 months straight of playing video games. That is 4.6 hours a day playing video games. That is a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of video games. But I take pride that I have not found someone with a higher number yet.
Uh, you're you're one of those. You're one of those.
I'm like, you know what? It may be a horrible thing to be, competing against because most people consider it a waste of time. But you know what? So far, I'm the one person who's wasted the most time on it, according to, at least seeing other people's like raps. So,
Only that, but like that's all in perspective, right? The same people who might consider that a waste of time, they're probably watching like hours upon hours of like freaking garbage TV. Like this is kind of, oh boy, I'm going to try not to get to a rant where people kind of look down on playing video games or how many hours you put into video games. Oh yeah, fucking Brad. How many hours do you put in your fantasy football team? All right. Shut up. Sorry. I just, oh gosh, sorry. It gets on my nerves. You know what? If you're proud of it and you feel like you enjoyed the majority of those hours, because there might be some stinkers in there, then
oh,
you know
there
what?
were some
Gosh
sinkers in
darn
there.
it.
Yep. So yeah, of these 1,700 hours, that I played, there are two new games that I've tried out. First was one that was recently announced at the Game Awards, was the shadow drop of the Final Fantasy 16 DLC. They
Mm,
mentioned two titles, which I'm both excited for because when people were like, if Final Fantasy 16 was going to get DLC, they would have liked it to explore one, more of what the Fallen Civilization was, or
mm,
what they were about, and the second one would have been exploring the story behind the lost icon Leviathan, also known as Leviathan the
ooh.
Lost. And so, believe it or not, those are the two DLCs we are getting. But the Leviathan one won't come until springtime. But the shadow dropped one is called Echoes of the Fallen, and it's actually a pretty short DLC. You can finish it in like 3 hours tops. It's really just kind of a really long level, but it is an
Mm,
absolutely gorgeous, really long level. It takes place in this gigantic tower. Um, and it's like there are so many times where I'm just like stopping it and I'm looking all around the scenery, just seeing all the wonderful designs of the architecture and just the distance when you get to these areas that like open up and you can see like in proximity how high you are to the world and just kind of see the whole continent. Well, maybe not the whole continent, but like a really good distance and like
mhm.
landmarks in the background. But to give you a quick synopsis of the story, an interesting dark crystal has come to Clive's attention, and he worries that if there's a new type of crystal out there, there possibly is a new mother crystal or an unknown mother crystal out there too, and he has to go and destroy that because that's his mission. So that's the kind of short tale. The game ends with probably the most epic boss fight in the entire game.
Oh,
Like
really? Better than all the icon
it's
stuff and the
better
boss
than all
battles
the
in the
yeah.
main.
I mean, icons were like cinematic, but in terms of absolute craziness, like you know how the final battle, like it just got so wild that maybe you didn't even know really what was going on, or maybe even where you were. on the screen, like just because there's all that
Mhm.
like stuff was happening with spells and like actions. Yeah, this one,
Mhm.
the second the theme song starts playing and it's like this super fast, like electronic song, you know
Mhm.
that you're gonna be in for some really scary shit. And this
Ooh.
boss delivers. My gosh, it's like putting a bullet hell right into the action combat sequences. Like it's absolutely crazy of all the different attacks that are like being shot at you and you're dodging and you're dipping and explosions are happening everywhere and then like oh man, it just the boss just keeps on evolving like every time like you knock a good section of his health, it just
Mhm.
grows like extra appendages or all of a sudden now all the attacks that it does are dropping off big old radiuses of blast. Like it hits the ground and boom, there's a blast radius. And it's just, and then it gets to a completely epic moment when you like get it down to its last like 20% of its health. And yeah, it's freaking crazy. And with the song going on in the background, it is, whew, it's a tough battle. I'm not going to lie. I actually had to put on some of the accessories to help me get through that one.
Wow.
But it is a fun battle, and I highly recommend if you have this game and you technically have to get all the way to the final dungeon before you can access this one. But if you have, definitely check it out. It is $10 for this one. You can pre-order the second one with this one together, and it's $25 for both packages or for both
Mhm.
DLCs. But it is, whew, it's exciting.
So, so this current DLC, just to summarize, it's relatively on the shorter side, and
Hmm.
it's like I said, if I were to just like summarize it, right, would it just be
Yeah,
like it is a bonus epic boss? Like that is kind of what the punchline is?
it's a very nice looking dungeon with with couple bosses, but it definitely ends with a very epic super boss.
But is there anything like super big added story wise, or is it just, excuse me, more fun
Story
stuff?
wise, it could live with or without it. Honestly, like
Got it.
Clive could have easily have just completely bypassed this and still been able to complete his objective. But
Mm.
it adds it's a nice little touch to it.
Okay. Not
It's
that I
cool.
needed it, but I was
Yeah.
just like,
No, I mean
okay.
it dives a little more into the fallen civilization and exactly
Mhm.
why they fell, and it hit like the target of the
Mm.
main antagonist in the game, or why they were
Mhm.
like the target. Like you see what they were doing to make like the main bad guy really like go after them.
Mhm.
So, I mean that was kind of nice to know, but it honestly you play this game for the really fucking epic boss fight.
Got it.
Yeah. Other than that, I also picked up the Avatar game Frontiers of Pandora.
Here we
And
go. I want to know about this one.
this game is amazingly beautiful. My gosh, you are like literally right there on the surface of Pandora with all sorts of foreign indigenous like plant life and wildlife running all around you. The game is got some tremendous scope in terms of like height and just variety of the flora and the biomes, and it's just like you're playing this game to get lost in this world. Like it is a
Mm.
freaking gorgeous game. The reason you would play this game, Steph, like you personally, is because I know you're very photographic with your games. Like you love to look around and take those pictures. You would be doing this all over the place. Like there are some
Okay.
awesome weather effects that happen from fog to rain to pollution
Mm.
effects, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. There's a good soundtrack
Can,
in this game.
can you remind me of the gameplay? Because I think the only reason why I stopped kind of keeping tabs on it is I just remember at the time they told me like what kind of a game it was. I'm like,
It is
ah,
an
it's not
open
really for
world
me.
game.
But is it
that
like
is
a action adventure? Or is it like more not an MMO,
it's
but
more
like
of
you know
a
what I'm saying?
first
Like
person
what's
shooter, but with bows.
yeah,
Like if you
okay.
it's a lot of the time it felt like Horizon, but with a first person perspective. Like you are targeting weak points on
Okay.
like enemies such as the EDFs or the EDAs, which are the main protagonists, the humans. Like they have
Mm-hmm.
mech suits, but the mech suits have weak points that you can like if you hit it precisely with an arrow, they're pretty much destroyed. And it's also the same with the wildlife as well. Uh, that you can like see a visible like weakness point, and if you can hit that, you do what's considered a clean, merciful kill, which can help the quality of your like crafting material and ingredients by doing these better kills. One of the game does have a story. You are part of a tribe that has long since thought to be extinct because they were wiped out when the humans first arrived. But you managed to escape one of the facilities, and now you want to get the tribes together so you can fight back the human invasion. This takes place after the events of the first movie. And that's really the only reference to the movie that you get. Everything else is completely original. You get to create your character. It can be male, female. You can probably even have like male with female voice and vice versa. Or there's also like an
Mm-hmm.
androgynous voice that you can't tell if it's male or female. So there's a little bit of custom creating with how your character is, and then you go around and you follow kind of a linear path to begin with, but then it opens up, and you actually even get your little flying dragon creature not too far into the game. So like you're able to like fly around and just explore these places even faster. There's just a lot of little collectibles that you can find. A lot of the game does not level up in the traditional sense. It levels up more in the God of War sense, where your equipment, like the better stats of your equipment, will go on and say this is your level. So if you get better equipment, you eventually go from like level 6 to level 7 to level 8. And the best way to get better equipment is to actually craft them, and to craft them using materials that are considered either superior or exquisite. Materials are so far the highest that
Ooh.
I can find. There's also
Hmm.
fine,
Hmm.
which is your normal tier. And you can
Mm-hmm.
get these, like, you can find your material almost anywhere. You do get a nifty little hunter's guide that you can, like, pin. If you're looking for a certain thing, you can pin a note onto your map so it can tell you, like, hey, if you're really looking for the rare shit, you want to go check out this area over here. Like, it'll say, go, like, for example, there's something called bruise moss. The best thing is like on stone that's in this like kind of small valley with a giant like lake in it. And that's where the best, like the exquisite and the superior stuff is. Otherwise, you can find bruiser moss randomly in other areas, but that's where the good stuff is. And once you craft those, you get like a lot better stats on your equipment using those. Um,
Okay.
Overall, I would say this is actually one of Ubisoft's finer open world games. You know, I'm just feel like it's not going to do well more because everyone's fatigued right now. There's too many AAA titles out there, and this one just came out at the very tail end.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, and I hate to say that because I just felt like it kind of slipped under the radar. And, judging from what you're saying, it seems like a fine game to me. And one of the
Mhm.
thoughts that popped into my head, and I know the world does not revolve around the Game Awards, but just because it's timely, does this mean this will be considered for next year's Game Awards? Because if it is, it'll probably be over. I don't know. Just it's
It
it's
technically
interesting
could
timing.
be, but it depends on
Mm,
what else comes out.
exactly.
It's a good
Hmm.
start, though. It's like I said, this is a well done game. It is fun. The world is absolutely gorgeous and amazing to explore. So far, I've opened 2 major areas. I had the beginning rainforest, and I've proceeded now into a very grassy, windy plains area. So,
Well, you know what? Good on Ubisoft, because I feel like that's a company that, they're known for a lot of games, but sometimes I feel like they just kind of keep pushing stuff up that's like,
it's a
yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
cookie cutter. You know,
Hmm.
they're known specifically for their massive open worlds, and what they do is good. Like they know, like if there's any company that can do it almost as well as Ubisoft, it may be like Rockstar. But Ubisoft it tends to like have a formula down with this, and while it's getting slightly stale, they at least know like how to refresh it a little bit. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and that's what I've been playing.
Nice.
Cool. Cool.
Well,
Stephanie.
since it's an Ubisoft game, maybe it'll like go on sale like in a couple months, and then I can.
You know,
Sorry,
I
no offense,
I I,
Ubisoft.
I guarantee you that's
No, no, no,
actually
no,
what's
no,
going to
no, no. They
happen.
deserve that shade.
Mm, there you go. So like maybe in a couple months it'll be on sale for like 19.99. No, I don't know. Anyway, Ubisoft, I wish you
Mhm.
luck. So anyway, mine is simple, but I will expand on it a little bit because I'm developing a it's complicated relationship with Baldur's Gate 3 because that's all I've been
You
playing.
saw my roommate. You saw my roommate right now. Like
It's
it's like he's in a love hate like thing with it right now.
is so it's the same game. He's commenting similarly.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it's the more I'm getting into it, and seeing it win game of the year, I don't disagree. If anything, it's like I keep playing it because I don't know. It keeps getting so complex, and I am getting used to the battle system, whatever. But what's kind of got me going is developing relationships with my team. Of all things, it's not even like a big focus because eh, occasional conversation dialogues will pop up, but it comes like after a certain time or a certain relationship standing with the character, because depending on your replies and your actions, it'll say like this person approves, this person disapproves. Now, I and this applies to like when you play Mass Effect, right? Like some people are like, "Where are you on your moral scale? Do you like playing the renegade or do you like being the other thing, the
Paragon.
goody two shoes, Paragon?"
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't do it intentionally. I just when it comes to games with a morality scale, I want to be the hero. I don't know why. It's more fun being the villain. Like even if I go in there and be like I'm gonna be a badass because I'm a goody two shoes in real life, I still can't bring
I think it's
myself.
the wanting to be liked mentality. Like, if you're a
Yeah.
villain, people are gonna like hate you.
Yeah, so like no matter how much I go into a game where I'm like, I want to be a badass, I chicken out and I try to save everybody. Now here's the downside in Baldur's Gate 3. I am part of the train that loves the vampire elf Asterion, the guy Neil Newbon plays.
Mhm.
But he's more of the troublemaker, not a bad guy, but like more devious and willing to. He doesn't want to be the hero and goody two shoes. So he's basically like getting more and more pissed off at me. And I'm like,
Uh,
no, no, I love you. And
have
then,
sex with me, damn it!
dude, and like, I feel like I think this is it. Baldur's Gate 3 is like my real life dating simulator in a sense because like I like hooked up with this one person, and so I thought by having a dance with this other guy and just kissing him was fine. But then the next day, it turns out in a relationship with him, and then everyone else that I've been trying to get in a relationship was like, "Oh, well, I guess you're not interested in me anymore." I'm like, "No." So I had to go and I dumped the guy the next day. I felt horrible. I'm like, "We need to part ways."
It's like, listen, we had fun. That was it.
You're giving video game characters their Dear John letters. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then so I'm now split between courting Asterion and this wizard named Gale, hence the text from like a week ago.
Mhm.
I got really excited. I thought I was going to have wizard sex, but turns out no. I was very disappointed. It was such a tease because he's like, hey, I'd like to show you something, but we can't do it with all these people around. Come see me privately after everyone goes to bed. I'm like, oh yeah, Gale and I are going
He's
to get
gonna
it
show me
on.
some magic tricks with
But
his
no,
magic
he's like,
wand.
first you walk up to him, he's looking at this like holographic image of a woman. So I'm immediately like, who the hell are you looking at? Who the hell are you looking at? And turns out
Wow.
his backstory is like, oh, it's this goddess of all magic wizard wielders. And yeah, I was living with her and sleeping with her. So I'm like, oh, so you're in love with this bee. But all the other characters are like, oh, you should check out Gale because he's eyeing you. He really likes you. But no, he like, how can I compare to a goddess? How? And we didn't even kiss. He's like, oh, I can't rush these things, blah blah blah. So
Wow, makes
it's
you
like a
want him even
tease.
more.
No, it does. It just pisses me off because like Gale is more of the lawful good, and Asterion's more of like chaos. And
Mhm.
like it's not really working out for Asterion. Gale supposedly likes me very much, but now that I'm going more for Gale, he's pulling the whole, yeah, I was in love with this goddess BS. So I'm like, why would I want to be chasing someone who's got eyes for another person? Which is very upsetting to me. And here I am getting super upset, and I'm texting my boyfriend this, by the way, and he goes, are you cheating on me? Like, what's going on? I'm like, so
Listen, you're not a
anyway.
wizard.
So that is Stephanie's Tales of Baldur's Gate. I feel like I'll be able to report in every once in a while on my adventures. I am in Act 2. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, quote unquote, boss battles. Uh, it's got me hooked. Excuse me, for better or for worse, it's got me hooked. But let me tell you, the relationships with the characters, it's a mind. Oh, I think my son's still awake. It's a mind f. It really is. The end. LeRon, what are you playing?
Nothing. I haven't played anything. Like it's
What? Not Dead
like.
Space?
No, I have no. I did not even touch. I haven't touched it this week. I haven't done any gaming this week. Like this week has just been it's
Busy?
been work
Mm.
busy and stuff like that. And like I'm talking like 5 o'clock morning busies.
Mm,
Yeah,
Oh,
mm.
yucky.
yeah. So it was literally one of those things where it's like, like the moment my brain was shutting down, I just went to bed. So yeah, I haven't done anything. And with the holidays in full swing right now, with me doing all sorts of Christmas shopping and getting stuff and getting ready to travel and stuff, I probably won't be able to game until I actually
Mm.
get to my travel destination, and then
That's fair.
and then put up with my mom bitching at me about, well, all you do is play video games. Like, you would actually be surprised how often I play video games these days.
Okay, so you're driving down to see your
Yeah.
mom for the holidays, yeah.
Yep. Yep. I'll be going down to South Carolina to see my mom. So yeah,
Nice.
that's what. Yep. So that's my big thing. I mean, like I did play some mobile gaming. I still play Street Fighter Duel. On that counts. I at least log in and do my dailies and stuff like that. And try not to spend money on the microtransactions.
Mm-mm.
Have you
You
tried
know
out
what?
Yeah.
that Monster Hunter game yet?
I did not like Monster Hunter Now. I
Okay,
didn't like it, and also like Monster Hunter Now is littered with microtransactions. And I was like, I need to stay away from this because the Monster Hunter player that I am, if I don't spend money on the DLC in the real game, like the actual mobile game, is actually the hook that will start sucking all the money out of your wallet. Yeah,
understood.
I can't remember the last time. I can't remember the last time I paid physical money for DLC in Monster Hunter because they give so much away for free. Like there was a time when I had FOMO in Monster Hunter. Like when they release all the dance moves and they make this pack and all this stuff, the dance moves and the emotes. Like I almost caved and spent like the $20 to get the entire collection. But I was like, no, because like I don't, as much of a Monster Hunter player as I am, I've been playing this game for 20 years now. As much of a Monster Hunter player as I am, I don't create content for it, and it drives me nuts because I woke up this morning. No, not this morning. It's Wednesday. I woke up Monday morning, and and I was just and I was trying to get ready to do some stuff for work and stuff like that. So I had YouTube on, and I'm seeing this research of brand new Monster Hunter content from people, and it's not just hey, we're playing the game, stuff like that. People are doing lore, they're doing breakdowns of weapons and armor and stuff, and I'm like, motherfucker, like back when this game was like a Japan hellscape game, and you had to like make a blood sacrifice to get the game over here in the States and stuff. I used to import those games, and I used to sit down and like figure all this stuff out and make my own freaking strategy guides for it and stuff like that. I used to have like spiral notebooks that had like all these notes for everything on how to like get these quests unlocked and all this stuff. And this is me like deciphering freaking kanji, and like sitting up there like doing recognition, and like, oh, that's a plate, that's that's Greaves, all this stuff, and yeah, like my friends got to the point where I was like, man, like you have a problem. I'm like, no, I love this game. So I'm watching all these people. So I'm seeing all this upsurge in like new content and stuff, and I think it's because Monster Hunter Wilds, the Wilds announcement last week, got people into a frenzy, and stuff like that. So people are going all the way back to Monster Hunter Tri for the Wii, and I'm like, no, I will never go back that far.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm sitting there like, man, I'm like, I just need to make content. I just need to make content and stuff like that, like really just like plug it all into my YouTube channel and just go, because so I'm just gonna like, let me introduce myself. I'm Exodus 803, and I've been playing Monster Hunter since 2004 when it was not cool to play this game. And now everybody's like jumping in with World, Iceborne, and Rise and Sunbreak and all this stuff, and they think it's the best thing ever. And I'm like, nah, it's been the
Like,
best thing ever for like forever.
generations. Try old school.
Right? But yeah, so that's what it is. And I did, like I said last week, I did go back and start playing Iceborne, which I think it was serendipity that because I started a game of Iceborne, not started, but I kind of just went back to Iceborne on Tuesday last week. Lo and behold, 2 days later on Thursday, we get the Monster Hunter 6 announcement, and I was like, what is this? What is this? Is this real life right now? Because I go back to the game that started the 5th generation for Monster Hunter, and I love Sunbreak. I love Rise and Sunbreak. It's fun. It's definitely, if World wasn't a big enough hook to get new people into Monster Hunter, Rise and Sunbreak definitely did the job, especially, and the level of entry being on the Switch, where they knew most people had a Nintendo Switch. We know that most people have like an actual game console, and I say actual like loosely, like they have the hardcore console, PlayStation or Xbox, then they have a Switch, or they have a PC, and then they have a Switch, and so Capcom, even though Capcom had just like closed off World and Iceborne and stuff like that, they knew what they were doing when they brought Rise out. They wanted to see if they could hook more people into it. 15 million units sold later. Yeah.
No, I think making it faster and like giving it more mobility just like really helped that game.
Yeah, definitely making it faster. That's the one thing I can say about Rise and Sunbreak. Like, because like Patrick, this, like World like actually sped up the combat from like the legacy Monster Hunter games. And I call anything before World is legacy in my opinion, because they all use that same that same mechanic of play style and stuff like that.
Sometimes it took 20 to 30 minutes to take out a monster.
Yeah, when we got the World, some of the battles still seem kind of long-ish, but there are so many nuance and tricks now, and environmental combat made the game it made the game feel like a different monster, pun intended. And so we're like, man, it can't get much better than this and stuff like that. And then Rise comes out, and like all the old school people are like, oh, this is Monster Hunter easy mode, because like literally before Sunbreak came out, it seemed like the game was too easy for guys like us. It's like it was too easy. Master Rank had to jump in Sunbreak and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to make this the Monster Hunter show. Like Corey's gonna be editing this podcast. He's like,
right. Normally it's the Destiny show, so don't worry.
Yeah, too bad Matt's not on with us tonight. It definitely would have been the Monster Hunter show. But yeah, so I'm just, we're going to talk about the Game Awards real soon here. I'm just glad. I'm just glad we got an. I wasn't expecting an announcement. That's the crazy part. I
I
was not
don't think
expecting an
this
announcement.
one just came out of left field. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
hinted.
yeah, and what I think is so clever about this, right? If we look back, the Monster Hunter World trailer, it was the first trailer that showed at the PlayStation keynote back in 2017. It was the first one at E3. It was because Sony had the
You know,
first show.
I
It was the
remember that.
very first
Yes.
trailer that we saw at E3 in 2017. The very first trailer, and then fast forward to 2023, and it's the final. It's the end cap trailer for the Game Awards. That man, Capcom knows how to make magic.
No, I'm happy that Jeff Keighley's programs are actually scoring up these big announcements. Like
Hmm.
you had the Rebirth trailer for the Summer Games Fest, which was huge. Then you had like he's been announcing some big games lately with his showcases. So it's nice to see a little bit of love, especially when we get to another topic later on today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, speaking of which, I guess we can go ahead and move on to our newsworthy topics of the night. And you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and go straight into it. Like the Game Awards. You know that happened. That happened Thursday last week. Uh, if you watched the entire show, including the pre-show, like man, you were in for 4 hours that night. 4.5 hours that night. Man, it was a long one. Like Stephanie, Pat, like you guys saw. I was texting slow, sleepy. So
Hmm.
and then got woke the fuck back up right at the last 10 minutes
Stephanie
of
and I
the
were
show.
like, LeRon, 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 look at it, look.
Yeah. So the ad show for 2023, I'm sorry, the Game Awards show for 2023
Ah, I see what you did there.
wrapped, and yeah, like just like every other Game Awards show that's come before it, there was controversy, there was strife, there was conflict, but there was also good times to be had and stuff like that. Uh so you know what? I think we're just gonna take a few minutes to sit down and talk about for 2023 Game Awards. We're going to talk about what we thought worked for the show, what we thought sure as fuck didn't work for the show. Pardon my language. And we're also gonna sit there because we made predictions for weeks about like how things are going to go as far as games and votes and all that stuff. We're going to also talk about like did the games that we had an investment in, or whether it's emotional, financial, or just we just want to see the underdog win. We're going to talk about did our games win at the Game Awards show this year. So Stephanie, I'll roll it to you. To start the first part of this. What do you? Okay, well, actually, how did you like the Game Awards? Did you like it?
I did, and not once again, I'm probably like the positive Polly. I'm just making up a phrase here because I feel like I say I didn't like it a lot to a lot of things, but I do genuinely mean it. And I was actually listening to the latest episode of Nintendo Pow Block, which I think that episode's like 2.5 hours long. Holy crap! And man, just
That's just
not
just
just
two
them,
people on that show. Wow.
you know, a lot of just a lot of people dogging on the Game Awards and, at the expense of making it sound like I'm trying to, fluff Jeff Keighley up or something. Like, it's not perfect, you know,
Mhm.
but I
And he
just feel
even
like
admitted that too on his Twitter.
yeah, it's not perfect. And I'm not looking at the Game Awards and idolizing the heck out of it, but I think we need to cool it sorry, I'm only using cheesy swears because I feel like my son's still like, we need to stop crapping on it. And until there's a more authoritative source or a standard set for Game Awards, just
Mhm.
sit back and relax, okay? Yes, there are ads, but you gotta pay. You gotta pay for the production value. Um, I don't know if like you want me to get into like what worked or didn't work, but just
Oh,
overall, I enjoy the Game Awards and I like them.
not yet. Because I want
Okay.
to. Pat, how'd you feel about the show this year?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very entertaining show this year.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like from the musical acts to even like the guests that they brought on. Yeah, people like shit on it being like too Hollywood now, but at least the actors that they brought are gamers this time.
Yeah.
Like Matthew McConaughey and Simu Liu just talking about
Mhm.
their gaming histories, and even Anthony Mackie. Like, yeah, he took 5 minutes
I
doing
thought
his
Anthony
intro.
Mackie's segment was really cool.
Hmm.
Like he was really working the crowd. Like I appreciated that, you know,
Yeah.
because I think the only other person that worked the crowd besides Jeff Keighley that night probably was dude from No Man's Sky. I forget his name. Uh
Oh, yeah. I forgot
yeah,
his name too, but I know who you're talking about.
yeah,
Why is it that I can't remember his name?
right,
Anyways,
Also
yeah,
like
yeah,
Simu Liu because he was there last year, and I
yeah,
feel like the crowd didn't get his humor, but I identified with it because he came out with a boot because I think he broke a leg or
yeah.
twisted a leg. He goes, "This is what happens when
No,
you're over 30 and don't
he tore his
stretch."
Achilles. He tore his
Yeah,
Achilles.
and I was like, "Yeah, I know. I'm in my 30s." Ha ha. And everyone's like, I don't know. I thought it was
I
funny.
sat down and I
I'm in my
got
late 40s and
sciatica.
I pay for it all the time.
Uh,
Um,
but yeah, like I'm, even Timothy Chalamet, even though he was the more professional of the entire group, like even he is actually a very avid gamer, and that's why Keeley didn't announce him as Timothy Chalamet. He announced him as Xbox gamer. Blah 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 blah. You
yeah.
know, so like, uh, I would like overall the announcements were amazing. Like there were
Mhm.
a lot of good stuff. Like even when you texted it like 30 minutes into the things like, so how many new announcements are you interested in? I'm like, oh, at least four, or I was like six of them. It's like not counting the ones we already knew.
I was like, wait. Some of those are not new. Some of those are from last year.
It's like fine, we'll go with four then. But yeah.
uh, you know, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Like I think you guys know me. I think our listeners that have been listening for a while since I joined Boss Rush kind of know this. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the Game Awards. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm not really a big Jeff Keighley fan, even though I respect him a lot. You know, for what he does for the industry and things like that. I will say this because I've watched every single Game Awards show every year. It's like a labor of begrudging love for me and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I gotta say, out of 9, almost 10 years of Game Awards, this is the first show that I actually walked away from and said, "This was a good show."
Nice.
I did not have any real complaints or critiques or criticisms. There were some things, yeah, bits went on a bit too long. You know, like I feel like people got rushed off the stage, even though technically,
Yes.
apparently everybody had the same amount of time until
30
Jeff was like,
seconds.
"Hey, y'all need to relax," you know?
Yeah, that's something I'll touch upon later. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ultimately, too many ads, and the Hollywood talent. This is nothing bad about the Hollywood talent because like it's great knowing that Jordan Peele is working with Hideo Kojima to make a truly actualized horror game. That's going to be amazing, you know, because like I love all Jordan Peele stuff, you know, as you know, um, and you know, getting the Hollywood talent out there, like you know, I feel like this is not a problem for the Game Awards per se. This is more like a problem for the gaming industry when you get all these names in there, then you start to realize this is why the gaming budgets are so expensive, and this is why
Hmm.
companies are
Yes.
shutting. This is why companies have to shut down after these games don't make this amount of
Hmm.
money. You know, they a lot of these games that have actual real deal Hollywood actors, you know, and stuff like that, they have to pay those guys a premium because like they have to go through their agents and all stuff. They have to get these guys to sign on board. Some of these actors do want to do it, you know, but you know, at the same time, you know, it's like it comes at a premium and stuff like that. And I
Hmm.
feel this is a critique for the industry, not for the Game Awards, in
Hmm.
my opinion. I feel like in our gaming run to chase and be just as good as Hollywood, we're starting to make the same mistakes that Hollywood does. You know, like sometimes you don't need to throw money at this actor just to get butts in the seat, you know, for your movie. If the movie's
Hmm.
good on its own, like people are going to go see it, you know. Um, Same
Look
thing
at
goes
the
with games.
original Marvel, like the first Phase One Marvel. A lot of actors like really unknown at the time. Already or Robert Downey Jr. well known was just kind of coming back from his bad past. You had
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth,
Yep.
who no one like really knew who he was.
Yeah,
Like,
he was real bit party back then.
You had
Yeah.
Chris Pratt. Like the only thing he was famous for was Parks
Parks
and
and Rec.
Recs.
Parks and
Yep.
Rec.
Like they grabbed all these
He's
people
a
that
chubby
were
guy
really
from
no
Parks and
name
Rec.
and just
Well, he was a chubby guy from Parks and Rec until he got swole as fuck for Zero Dark 30.
yeah, that is true. And then he got Orange Goode in Guardians of the Galaxy, which
Hey, that is one of my favorite parts of that film.
Yep. But yeah,
But anyways,
it's like, anyways, the point was look for these, new up and comers, like cheaper, and you
yeah,
may have the next star on your hand.
exactly. Yeah, so I feel like this was a good Game Awards show, despite a lot of. I feel like it had a lot of stumbles, but it wasn't per se like they did anything wrong or anything bad. And give it up to Christopher Judge for the night for making that sick ass burn on Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
My speech was going to be longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign.
You know what would have made that whole bit even better if, like, over the PA they're like, shots fired. That would have made that whole bit like.
I'd
Oh,
even
man.
accept push F for respect to pay respects, which was originally which is the meme. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare created that meme where your character is standing over a coffin. You have to push the F key to place your hand on the coffin. So that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
the press F for your respects come from.
Yeah. All right, guys. So let's talk about what we feel worked for this for 2023's Game Awards.
You know what
I don't
worked?
care who. I don't care who
Security
talks.
worked.
Security did work. We didn't have
Yes.
any weirdos bum rush the stage.
Velvet ropes and guys standing between them.
I'll do well, other than that, definitely Flute Guy. I just want to shout out to Flute Guy who is back, and
he played so many different woodwinds.
he had a freaking whatever that flute that was like as tall as he was. I'm like, yeah.
I think that was a fucking bassoon or something. I don't know what that was.
You know what? Keeley actually announced what that was in a picture. I'll look it up while you guys keep talking.
Always looking it up, and I know it sounds like a joke, but I'm glad Flute Guy came back because, like, I think it's small, unique, memorable moments or people are kind of what makes shows like this could be boring. But no, like, I remember Flute Guy. Everyone was tweeting about Flute Guy. Flute Guy's back. It's like a wholesome little ditty that you'll remember the Game Awards show for. So, like, I do, as silly as it sounds, I do think Flute Guy coming back and the Game Awards orchestra just playing great things was a big benefit to the show. I think that worked. Obviously, the Old Gods of Asgard, that performance that worked.
Can I say something?
Go right ahead.
I thought that part was weird.
Well, it's supposed to be weird.
Okay, well, actually, I understand, as a person that plays like rhythm and music games and stuff like that. I understand that music is an integral part. Music scores, soundtracks was an integral part of like gaming. I do. As a matter of fact, I had up the battles, like when it's like Mega Man 2 and 3 versus 3 for the soundtrack and stuff. I'm usually the first person there for those battles and stuff like that. So I get it. But I feel like when we have the musical performance sections of the Game Awards, and usually it's usually three. But I feel like one year, like they had like 5 of them, and it pulled me out of the show so bad because it was like, man, okay, this is the point where I just feel like I need something to do. Or I need to like be on my phone scrolling, or I need to like change the channel for a minute, and stuff like that. Because like, remember, the Game Awards used to be on Spike TV before it became the Paramount Network.
I get it, and I think there was only a few performances. There's Old Gods of Asgard, Poets of the Fall.
There was 3. Now the Final Fantasy one was sick. Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
I
can't wait to talk about that one.
Yeah, but I did enjoy the song though. I did enjoy the song, but I just like, man, this just kind of pulls me out of it because I'm just ready for the next like announcement or the next award. you know.
Sorry, I will say this, because as much as I gush and glow about that song in the game, but I even texted Pat this, or maybe it was part of the group chat. I'm like, I forgot that the guy playing as Alan Wake versus the guy singing as Alan Wake were two different people. So I also got really thrown off how like Mr. Dora was singing to the singer, but then the actor was on stage. And even though the actor did a great job in the game, he almost looked a bit stiff on
He
stage.
looked out of place. He looked out of place.
Well, I feel like that was part of the charm because even in the video game, Alan felt very out of place in that
He
musical.
did, but even that was more. I felt, I don't know, it felt more genuine, the out of placeness in the, I don't know, I couldn't put my
Mhm.
finger on it. Again, maybe it's because I knew that the singer was on the other part of the stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Mhm.
minor gripe. We can move on
Now,
from that.
as far as performances go, that was great performance in exhibition.
Mhm.
I think the one I didn't like. I think if we rate the musical performances, the one for Senua's Saga, that
Mm.
was probably the one that gripped me the least.
Yeah, I don't actually remember that one. Like I
That
remember
was
it
them
was
dressed
played,
in
but I
all
don't even remember what it
that
sounded
native
like.
stuff. Yeah, like
Mhm.
that was the one,
Mm.
and like I said, I'm just not big, on the musicals on the live performances and stuff because I remember one year they had Grimes on there,
Mm.
and I was like, really? Yeah. No offense to Grimes. No offense to Grimes. I think Grimes makes some pretty decent music, actually. But I was just like, really? And I feel like if you're doing now when he has the orchestra doing like the music from the scores from the actual games, that part gets me hype. That
Mhm.
part gets me hype because like using the background, like you actually seeing like clips and snippets from the games that they're presenting and stuff like that. I feel like we should have more of that. Like showcase the orchestra a little bit more.
Yeah.
Mhm. Speaking of the orchestra, Flute Guy was holding a double contrabass flute.
Okay.
Holy
That is
Okay.
the
moly.
one that is like 6 foot tall.
Uh
I'm just gonna
yeah.
call it Mega Flute.
Mega
I think
flute.
a lot of people called it the Mega Flute.
Nah, as a Monster Hunter player, that was a damn hunting horn.
Hmm
Mm, yeah, so.
So,
He was about to summon a wyvern up in that bitch.
so before we
I-
leave the topic of
yeah.
the performances, like I too, of course, really love the old Gods of Asgard playing. Like it's so crazy that this band that was just created through the thoughts of Remedy and then put into an Alan Wake game now actually has going to be releasing an album. Like an
Really?
actual, yeah, they have enough songs that
Kudos.
they are releasing an album.
Freaking
It's called
awesome.
Old
Okay,
Gods of Asgard Rebirth.
that's
So,
pretty fantastic.
hmm uh, but I wanted to talk about the Final Fantasy one because to me, that was my highlight of the show. We got the
Yes.
Final Fantasy Rebirth trailer, but we also had this absolutely beautiful song
Mhm.
that was being played. It's called No Promises to Keep is the name of the song. I highly recommend you look it up online. And that lady, holy
Oh
crap,
my god.
she
And that
had.
was and that was live too. I mean, that was live singing because like she
hmm
checked her sound check like a couple of times in the middle of that performance.
Mm.
Like, I swear, she could probably have broken a glass on my end of, the screen. Like, she was just that powerful.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
hmm
mean, man. And I was like, and I'm like, situations like that, you only have one shot. You only have
Yeah.
one shot to do that.
hmm
Uh, yeah. Like I said, that was amazing. Like that was a memorable one for me. And like my roommate and I were watching it, and I was like, you know what, man? I feel like back when Final Fantasy VII first came out, that was a phenomenal event, and it seems like what they're doing with the remake project is just the phenomenon all over again. I'm like, man, this is a thing in gaming that we're going to be talking about. Final Fantasy VII is going to be a name that lives in gaming for over 50 years. Because
Mhm.
like it's gotten its remake, it's getting its rebirth and all this stuff, and like this is part of modern. Well, I would say not modern gaming, like Gen X gaming, Gen X or Gen Y gaming. This is part of their DNA. You know, it's part of their DNA. For me as a Gen X, or like games like Legend of Zelda and Metroid, on the NES are in the DNA. If not going back as far as like Atari and ColecoVision, Final Fantasy VII is in the DNA, just like Halo is in people's DNA now for gamers and stuff like that. Um, it's amazing. It's wild. And it's great to see something like this evolve and become like this powerhouse event. And that performance definitely solidified it.
Yeah. The singer's her name is Lauren Allred. And really, before this, the only thing she was known was for singing the song Never Enough from The Greatest Showman's musical.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh, but even the trailer itself was absolutely amazing. It showed a lot of returning characters like Sid. It showed a lot of things going on in the Golden Saucer. But it really broke my heart was the final scene in that where you see Eris kneeling in prayer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Oh
and
yeah.
then you saw the black
Everybody knows.
feathers. Like I actually
Everybody knows.
I paused that scene and what I noticed behind her were the whisperers, which if you played the original game, these were the people or these were like these dementor looking creatures whose purpose was to keep fate from being altered. So they're behind the scenes right now, which means something is going to happen in this scene. I think it's going to change, but I don't know that, and if it doesn't, it's going to break my heart. But at the same
What
time,
struck me about that whole thing is like basically the video was like an Aerith highlight.
oh
That
yeah, she
entire
was the
the
one
entire
singing.
segment. Yeah, yeah. I was like, okay, this is the one. Like anyone that knows the history of Final Fantasy VII, we already know what's going to happen. Stuff like that, and it's going to break our hearts all over again.
Maybe, maybe.
Well,
I have a feeling.
in the interview with the executive producer, he said there's a lot of stuff that we are changing, but there's some things we just cannot break. It's like breaking an immutable law of physics. Like if you do it, like it's going to be chaos.
I don't know. I feel like they have to break that and able to hit the plot point that this game has
Well
been
then,
trying to hit.
that nullifies Advent Children.
I mean, it's
It
possible.
just completely kills it.
Well, that's the thing. This is like an alternative universe. Like Sephiroth has seen what the future is, and he's trying to change it so that he doesn't lose. So my guess is, like everyone, if you played the original game, you know that event has to happen and enable for Holy to take effect. And so I feel like it's going to change specifically so that Holy doesn't work.
Well, I mean, also though, like it wasn't like a. Here we are talking about we went from Monster Hunter lore and now it's to Final Fantasy lore, Seven lore. Isn't it like a trifecta though? Because like it's like what happens to Aerith in the original game. You also have the comet coming, and then the weapons also appear as a result. Like I feel like it's a holy trinity.
Yeah, but that those the weapons and the weapons in the meteor happen because because Sephiroth got the black magicite or materia. Wow, I'm
You're
mixing
no,
up
you know,
magical
you're the
stones.
Magicite's Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, that yeah
Come
he
on, you're the
got.
Final Fantasy guy here.
I know I'm mixing up my stones just like I'd probably mix up icons, summons, eidolons or whatever. Yeah,
Eidolons. I call them, if I don't call them summons, I call them ions.
yeah.
I thought ions was like the coolest way to call them anything.
hmm but yeah, because they only won because of that scene. Like, if the Holy didn't work, it's probably because someone had control of the live stream after that. Saved the world. So I don't know. Anyways, that's my thought.
All right.
Also, I
Any
just don't want
any other
that to
things?
happen.
Any other things we can point out that we feel like worked for the show?
I mean, I'm sure there was just a lot of other mini things, but that's kind of those are my primary highlights. And again, just some of the really great announcements they had.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I
Announcement.
said, it was clean. It lacked controversy. I just like that, like
Yeah.
that, as
Yeah.
simple as it is.
Mm.
All right. Well.
What
All right.
didn't
Let's
work?
talk about. Let's talk about what didn't work. I feel like this is where the laundry list is about to come out. um, I, I'll start. I'll start. Okay, so what didn't work? What didn't work? And this is a complaint that comes up all the time when they go into hurry up mode for some of the announcements and stuff like that. If the Game Awards is actually a show about like like showcasing both showcasing the games, the game developers, and the gaming community and stuff like that, like they need to pick and choose what they're going to do. Like, oh, this is going to be a side award, and what's going to be in the mainstream. Because like I'm going to say this, we argued for 3 whole damn weeks about independent game, about the indie title, about the indie award, and the fact that it got relegated to winner of best indie game, Sea of Stars. Clap, clap, clap. Moving on.
Mhm.
You know that right there.
Funny
First
though,
of
that
all,
was the only indie game on that list.
which
In
means
terms of definition of being independent.
which means the people who are voting on that listen to the community, because they must have known us nerd gamers were going to riot
Well,
on
to be
on
perfectly
Friday morning.
honest, Sea of Stars was an amazing game. Like it
Yeah,
deserved its
yeah.
award.
I need to hurry up and finish it. Yeah, I really do.
Me too.
Um,
I'm like right
yeah,
at the end
but
too.
but honestly, like stuff like that, I feel like we're not learning a lesson from this yet, because like that's the one thing that always pisses everybody off every year. It's like like certain awards, like Nintendo won a lot of awards, in those categories that were like side conversations. You know,
Mhm.
Nintendo had a great night, by the way.
Yep.
The online commentary says, like Nintendo, like the Game Awards didn't show up for Nintendo. Shut the fuck up, because it sure as hell did for Nintendo, and
Mhm.
because I, I'm not a champion for Nintendo. Everybody knows this, but Nintendo had a great. Nintendo won the first award of the damn night, so
That is true.
you cannot say that Nintendo did not have a good night, because here's what it is like when it comes to award shows, whether it's the Grammys, the VMAs, the Oscars, all this stuff. The first award, the award right before the halftime, and the final award. Those are always always the big ones. And Nintendo had awards all over the place, but they got the first award.
Mhm.
I did say this though, when Mario Wonder, yeah, when Mario Wonder got the first award, I was like, okay, Tears of the Kingdom is not going to win Game of the Year, and it's not because like it's a politic game. If it was politics, it was politics because like Mario Wonder was the first award. But beyond that, you can kind of tell how trends go and stuff like that. And like Tears of the Kingdom, phenomenal game. A lot most anticipated game. Well, it would have won most anticipated game for 2 years in a row if there wasn't this little thing called Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That was one that had already won it 2 years in a row. um, yeah, highly anticipated game, like critical acclaim. I think it's is Tears of the Kingdom the highest scoring game on Metacritic for Nintendo this year? I think it is. Or is it
Yeah.
tied with another? Or is it tied with another Nintendo? Is it tied with Mario Wonder? I think it's tied with Mario Wonder.
No, Mario Wonder was less. I
Was less? Okay.
thought, though, the Metroid Prime remaster was pretty. That was like the first one that was in the high 90s when it first
Yeah.
came.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meta.
So yeah, when Nintendo got the first award of Mario Wonder, I was like, okay, that kind of puts a nail in the coffin for Tears of the Kingdom, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, like the 6 games that made it to the final category are all phenomenal games, and it's games that people should be playing and stuff like that. But ultimately, the way they handled the awards and stuff like that, which also leads us into into my second point about what didn't work. If it's about the games and developers, let the developers have a little bit of time to speak and stuff
Yes,
like that.
thank
You know,
you.
you
Mhm.
know, instead of bidding and buying time for all these advertisements and trailers and stuff like that, because there's some trailers we really didn't need to see at the Game Awards. There really were some. And
Mhm.
like, and this is not just me being cynical gamer, because everyone knows like what the fuck, I'm always like, what is this, like, why is this here, stuff like that. But there was literally a lot of fluff and frills and stuff like that. Did we have to see so many Honkai Star Rail like trailers? that night. I think we saw 5 different ones. If I'm being honest, well, not 5 different ones. I think we saw 3 different ones, and one of them got ran a couple of times. The same one. So like that. Did we need to see all that? And the crazy part is
Well,
Hoyoverse had an announcement for a new game. I was like, come on, like you guys, why didn't you lead with this and then start showing the Honkai Star Rail stuff? And it's not me hating on Honkai Star Rail because like those Hoyoverse games are amazing. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
let me quickly. Oh, sorry. Finish.
Oh no. Oh, I was gonna ramble. Go ahead.
Oh no, because I'll kind of make it easy on timing and stuff. Is the points that you made were going to be my points, right? Like, do what you need to do with ads. That's fine, but the fact that they rattle off some categories, it's like, what, why? Like, if
Why?
it's called an award show, I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah, awards is in the name of the show. Where were
it's in the
the
name of the
awards?
show, and I think in the indie game of the year is like the clear example is Sea of Stars, well deserving indie. Why won't you let them speak for 30 seconds? And then
Mhm.
the speech thing, listen, I get it. Like, I liked how they kind of joked about Chris Judge and played the music when he started talking, like, haha, very funny. And no, I don't think they should speak for 8 minutes. That is a bit
Mhm.
long. But I think they kind of like almost overreacted. And I don't, just extend it a little bit more. Like Neil Newbon had a wonderful message to say, and I was just like, come on, just give him like
Mhm.
another 30 more seconds.
that was
Yeah.
he was the first one though. That was the problem with it, because Jeff even pointed that out and he apologized in a tweet saying, "Hey,
Mhm.
even I thought this was a little obsessive. That after 30 seconds they started playing. We After Neil's speech, we decided to tone down on that a bit." But
Mhm.
he apologized. He's like, "Hey, I'm sorry. They
Which
should have had more time."
reminds me, is it true or was it fake news? With that when AG Ayanuma was on talking for Tears of the Kingdom that they showed a sign to wrap it up? Was that true?
No, no,
No,
no.
after
That,
30
that was true.
seconds, the thing says
That
wrap
was
it up.
true.
Oh, okay.
It's not. It wasn't just him. It was
Yeah,
It was
yeah, it
everyone.
shows up.
everyone.
It shows up on it shows up on one
Okay.
of the main teleprompters.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so I
people.
just think
People have legit pictures of that.
Hmm.
so I just, and I'm really glad Jeff Keighley pointed that out. I just hope that let's strike a bit better of a balance there. We can do better than exactly 30 seconds and 8 minutes. There's a wide berth. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
think 1 minute would be a good length. After 1 minute, yeah, please try to wrap it up. You don't like
Mhm.
need to completely tell us about your life story and a message.
Mm.
Thank the few people and share an important thought in your mind.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, and I sure mentioned this in something I love. Ben Starr becoming a meme. How he's got that really bright picture of him
Mm.
now people are using that to describe the food in my refrigerator when I open the door, or I don't know.
Aw.
There's some fun ones out there, and even he played on that as well. There was a funny one that showed the scene from The Last of Us, where he's where Joel and his daughter spotted by the military and they're flashing the flashlight. We had
Mhm.
Joel's face, but then the daughter is actually Ben Starr's face,
Oh no!
just bright eyed and white.
That's hilarious.
Oh my god!
And then he actually did a little one of his little Twitter skits based on that meme.
Mm.
Uh,
That's hilarious.
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
What else?
Uh, I would say another thing that didn't really work. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying in the earlier segment. The whole Hollywood thing. I feel like a lot of time was wasted. Like giving Hollywood talent more time to shine than the actual gaming talent, and stuff like that. Not saying that you should cut those guys off either, but I feel like they need to strike a balance and stuff like that because we all know Jeff Keighley's gonna slob Hideo Kojima's knob long, like he is and stuff like that. So the fact that Kojima got 12 minutes, You know,
Mhm.
with Jordan Peele up there and stuff like that. Jeff needs to rein himself in sometimes.
Yeah, no, I was excited with Kojima and Peele's project, but you're right. For the little information they had, I'm like, it didn't need to be that long.
Yeah,
Like,
it did not need to be that long.
still talk about it. I love Jordan Peele, but I'm like, because you can't, they're not ready to share the information with us, then why are we talking for this long?
Mhm. Yeah.
Kojima hype.
Hmm.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Kojima hype pool.
Did you guys have anything additional to add to the what didn't work for the Game Awards? I think those are
Yeah,
my two
we
major
got it.
gripes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and they're
All
big
right.
ones, but
Mhm.
Yeah. So did the games we want to win?
Can I start this one off?
Go for it.
Out of the 6 Game of the Year games, I have beat 5 of those games, and the one that won Game of the Year was the one I did not play.
go figure, huh?
So did my games win? No.
I feel so bad for Spider-Man 2. I
Mhm.
feel so bad for Spider-Man 2. But you know what? Maybe that's a conversation that needs to be had later, because like a lot of people said, it felt like more of the same, except better. And
It's
how do you
really what it was.
quantify?
It didn't do
How do
anything new.
Yeah, how do you quantify more of the same but also be better? It's a weird place to be in. So
Ah,
I'm sorry for Spider-Man 2 and Insomniac, but the fact that you're getting nominations is a good one, Um
Resident Evil
uh
didn't win anything either.
yep.
who?
I said
Resident
Resident
Evil
Evil didn't
4.
win anything either, and that
I
was
don't
Game
think
of the Year
anyone
in a few.
expect I don't think anyone was expecting Resident Evil 4 to win anything. I really don't think
Mhm.
they were expecting. Resident Evil 4 has won so many awards, and this is just a remake. Like take a seat, Resident Evil 4. Like let's talk about this again when Code Veronica gets remade.
Yep. Then we can put you back in the Game of the Year.
Um there were a lot of surprises for me and stuff like that. And in all honesty, the only game I can say that well, there's two games actually. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon, winning Best Action. That was on my list. Sea of Stars winning Best Indie was on my list. Everything else was kind of a foregone conclusion. I knew Baldur's Gate 3 was going to win a ton of awards. I'm so sorry for you, Starfield. I am, but come on,
Hmm.
like it is what it is with that. Uh, I knew Street Fighter 6 was going to win, even though I feel like Mortal Kombat 1 should have been the winner there, because out of all the games that was on that list, Mortal Kombat 1 did something different than the traditional stuff. And yeah, its core is still a traditional fighting game, but it actually had presentation value. It had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and it felt like something fresh. You know. Um. So yeah, those are the ones I can say. It would have been nice if Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp had won Best Sim Strategy, but
Go Pikmin.
Hmm. Yes.
boo,
I, well,
boo,
You shut your whore mouth, sir.
boo.
I'm glad
You
Pikmin
play.
4 won an award.
Mhm.
Um, I'm actually, I think part of the reason why I was very excited for this year's Game Awards, this is probably the first year where I actually played the majority. Not, yeah, I played a very decent amount of the games that were there. That's why I paid full price for Baldur's Gate. I'm like, I need to play this game that got like a bajillion nominations and almost pretty much secured Game of the Year. So I would say most of the games I thought about and wanted to win kind of won an award, whether it's the particular award. Because Final Fantasy 16, I felt like could have been better recognized, but at least it got best soundtrack, which is very, I feel
Accurate.
well deserved. Pikmin 4 as strategy, that's fair and fitting. Tears of the Kingdom didn't get Game of the Year, which is fine because even though I'm a Zelda head, I just feel like Game of the Year. So best action adventure, fine. Um, from a personal level, I wish that politics could not infuse itself into things like this because I do feel like Hogwarts Legacy as a game should be recognized. Again, I understand the controversy and the politics behind it, and that's how the world works. I just wish it got recognized because it is a good game and the devs
Do
did a
you
good job.
do you
Mhm.
feel like there was a bias going on there?
There was
Absolutely.
they
100%.
kept that game out because they didn't want.
Because
Uh,
I would probably not have thought this if it was at least nominated. I'm not saying it had to have won, like, oh, it should have won something. The fact that it didn't get any nominations was to me a clear sign that they just wanted to
Mm.
avoid getting pissed
Yeah.
and shit on by everyone on the internet.
Hogwarts Legacy honestly was one of the best sellers of this year. In fact, I think an article just came out that this game is like one of the top games of 2023. So the fact that it didn't get nominated for anything says that there was a bias in uh, keeping that argument out of the game awards.
That should be a topic in itself another day. So I will close up my comments there. But that was like a big, glaring, missing thing in my brain. Like it really should at least have gotten a nomination or two by the sheer quality of the game. I'm talking purely based on quality and merit.
Even the
Um,
soundtrack, not crying out loud. That music was Harry Potter, which is John Williams, and John Williams is cool.
mhm. And then, of course, Alan Wake 2, which is funny because it gets me all riled up when I hear Corey and sometimes Ed, we love you both, like constantly dump on Alan Wake. Like every single episode that they're on, they shit on Alan Wake. I'm like, listen, I did not have the best time with the remastered. Like I complained about it, but Alan Wake 2 really was an exceptional game. Maybe not like game of the year because it didn't allow everything from Baldur's Gate, and that's well deserved, but it did have amazing art direction, amazing sound, just it was very artfully done, and I think it won 3 awards, right? Best game direction,
Best narrative.
best narrative, and then there was one more, I had it up somewhere. But anyway, I think that was well deserved. I'm glad it won a couple awards. So, yes, overall, I felt like a lot of games that I wanted to see won something. I just wish that maybe Final Fantasy got a little bit more love and that Hogwarts Legacy got recognized for its work by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Lake getting his award, that to me was, that was a proud moment for me. I will say a space for the Unbound got robbed.
Mm.
That one hurt because I really liked that game. But overall, I would say I am pleased with the awards. I do feel like they were earned for the most part, except for that one. Sorry, Chia.
It was tough. The fact that Chia was in, if Chia, I don't think if Chia wasn't in there, I think Space for Unbound would have been like it's the runner up.
As soon as I saw Chia, I was like, "Oh, that's a wrap."
Yep.
Why? Because it got Sony money back in it.
No. Like no.
I'm
Like,
just creating.
everybody
that
fell in
argument.
love with Chia when it was announced,
Mm.
and then
Chia was
the
a
more
good
and more,
game. It was.
yeah, and then the more and more we learned about, like, Chia kind of had the same thing going on for it that, like, the original Black Panther movie had, as well as Shang-Chi
Mhm.
had. Like,
Mhm.
representation was there for, like, cultures and, regions of the world and stuff like that, and that's what kind of did it in for Chia. Like, there was so much going for it. And what was it? What was it? Was it innovation? Yeah, it was innovation, right? That got the award, right?
Yeah,
Well, it's
no.
Games of Impact for
Games of
Impact.
Impact. Thank you. I said innovation, like it did something new.
Well, you could spirit jump into a bird, and a mechanic of the bird is pooping. There's a button to poop as a bird,
Yeah.
so it's very innovative in my
I
opinion.
don't know. Ark
Yeah.
Survival had a button for you to poop, and you were a human in that game.
No one wants to poop as a human. We all can do that now, but can you poop on someone as a bird? No.
All right,
Yeah.
so that's our talk about the Game Awards. You know what? Good job, Jeff Keighley.
Mhm.
But also, shame on you, Jeff Keighley. Hey, I'm running the show tonight, so I say whatever I want. uh, but yeah, good show. But the 10-year anniversary is next year.
Be better.
So, like, we need to see what all this is culminating to now. Like, we need to see if there are going to be lessons learned, or if this is going to be more of the same. Because I think after 10 years, I think this is when, like, we'll start seeing fatigue from, like, the audience. Like,
Mhm.
everybody's been huffing and puffing, like, already. But I think with the 10-year run coming, like, this might be the one that breaks you, buddy. So Get it right, get it tight.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right. One other thing, right? What the hell is all the comments about like this being the E3 of Christmas? What is that? Because like I think that's the most tone deaf shit I've ever heard.
Probably because of all the big announcements.
Yeah. And then everyone just automatically equated it to, oh, it's like an E3 in wintertime. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a perfect segue to talk about E3 because like if you've been in case you've been living under a gaming rock, like like the ESA like have called it quits on on E3,
It's official.
after 20 years of E3 being a thing, it is no longer a thing and stuff like that, and so now, so I definitely feel like now, like when I hear people say like it's the winter E3, like the Game Awards, I'm like no, no, don't that's no, because what people fail to realize is E3 started as a journalist event, like a
Mhm.
press event. Basically, it wasn't about like us being able to walk in there and like play video games and see new stuff. It was about the press getting all that information and then putting it out to us, which is back when we had like print publications and stuff like that. I think the only print publication we have now for gaming is like Game Informer. I think that's the only thing we have left in print
Zelda.
publication, at least here in the states. So yeah, it was a thing, and then like I can't remember when they started opening it up to the public and stuff like that, but that's when it became a big deal as far as gaming. Like it's like a video game convention at that point. And I feel like there are events now that kind of do that thing. New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, like yeah, gaming presence, PAX, and stuff like that. So I I don't want to be that guy, but I gotta say this: I knew as we slid further and further into the digital age that E3 was going to have a problem, you know, and then the pandemic didn't do it any favors, when like they had to close their doors for public health, and then the companies realized, hey, like we should have been doing this ourselves all along and stuff like that. Sony Sony and Microsoft, well, Sony and Nintendo were the ones that kind of started. Like they're like, we're not gonna have a press conference at E3. We'll be there, but we're not gonna have a press conference at E3. Like like,
Mhm.
and then Microsoft jumped on that bandwagon. And then when you lose the big three, like
Yeah.
there's a problem because like the big three pays the most money for those venues and stuff like
Yep.
that. So yeah,
I
you
think
know,
that it was a matter of time as far as that's the way of the world, whether it's everything going more digital or it c the kinda glaringly obvious business sense where it's much cheaper to hold your own showcase and stream it on YouTube for little cost.
mhm.
Um, I feel that E3 was a bit late to catch on change. I feel like maybe if they changed and adapted sooner to be more like a PAX or something, then maybe they might have been able to hold on. But I think the fact that they've kind of stayed this same way for as long as it did, it just kind of, yeah, I think COVID was kind of like that last act. So, quick quip from me, like I'm just generally sad because I'm always sad when things like this have to end, but I can at least understand logically why it had to end. It's unfortunate, but as much as things shut down, something else is gonna start or has started, so
Yeah,
Yeah, echoing what you guys said, like I have a lot of good memories with E3, and I will always remember those like fun showcases that E3 had. But to be perfectly honest, E3 has been on its dying legs for the
Mm,
last several years. Uh, between just being too expensive so that the little guy couldn't get in, up to
mhm,
just yeah, I mean, even it was so they shot themselves in the foot with their pricing. That's why the big three left, is because they could do it cheaper themselves.
hmm
And then when the pandemic hit, we had Keeley who like went straight to being digital, and E3's like, oh, we'll skip this year, we'll try next year, we'll do digital, and then we'll try again with the hybrid. And they put like literally no effort into trying to get trying to revive it. They just
yeah,
they just let itself die.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
and it's a shame too because I mean like we saw some wonderful announcements and things happen at E3 and stuff like that.
Hmm.
There's also some stuff that was done very very wrong at E3 like the year Sega just came out and said, "Oh yeah, our new console, the Sega Saturn's here and you can buy it right now in stores." I'm like, "What?" Yeah. There was some comical stuff. Remember Kaz Hirai and Ridge Racer? Remember his little dance?
Ridge Racer.
All the memories.
Hmm.
Shoot,
I just hope that we find ways to honor games moving forward. Hopefully there will be more things like a PAX or kind of like the Game Awards, but maybe not an award show, but be a celebration of gaming. We'll see.
uh,
I don't know. We'll see, right? I
yeah,
just I don't know if Summer Games Fest is really. I don't see it kind of equaling the same, but it's something.
I think
yeah,
as
because
long as
summer,
the big three do their showcases and
Yeah.
Keeley, represents the smaller guy, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
Summer Games Fest is like its own entity, and I'm glad it's not exactly like E3 because if it was exactly like E3, then Summer Games Fest would be in trouble as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Good point.
I'm actually pretty glad that like Jeff Keighley like because remember he used to be a personality for E3 and then they had a falling out and like he just didn't go and copy the formula and do it himself and stuff like that. He strove to make something more unique and stuff like that. And with being a digital event, like because of the pandemic and stuff like that, he made it work. Um,
Mhm.
wow, I cannot believe. Jeff, you owe me some royalties right now, man, because I am doing a lot of PR for you tonight, dude. Like I just want you to know this,
I
and
like that
you're
history, though. And sorry to cut you off. Like I
oh no,
appreciate that history. This just goes to show. See, like maybe after years of doing the Game Awards, something, I don't know, will spring forth from that. I just like this kind of conversation because, like with everything else, when I heard about the E3 news, we got people that were either like, oh my gosh, I'm so heartbroken. How could they do this? I'm so upset, to the, E3 just sucked and it deserves to die. Like they're so extreme. I'm like, can we just have a conversation about it and what it did and what's in the future? I don't know.
yeah, yeah. So rest in peace, E3. Like
Yes.
like hopefully from your ashes rises something great. Whether that's the Game Award, I'm sorry, not the Game Awards. I'm sorry, the Summer Game Fest, or whether it's something new and interesting, or like PAX has been eating their lunch for a little while and stuff like that. And let's hope PAX doesn't become like a stale
Mm,
thing that like everybody's like, oh, it needs to die just like E3 did and stuff like that. Things of that nature.
At least PAX though, PAX is designed for the consumer in mind.
yeah.
E3 was
Yeah,
strictly a media thing before
yeah.
they even let the public go in. So,
Oh yeah.
anyways, yeah.
Well,
We're-
that's all the news.
It's a
Well,
lot of news.
hmm I
Yeah.
think I'm going to take over from here, guys.
All right. All
Well,
right. Oh, by the way, for everybody's listening, this is the last time we talk about the Game Awards. Last time. Like you're not gonna hear
yeah,
about the Game Awards on this show again until it's time for the next Game Awards. And by
or
the
Unless
next
it's
game,
our own Game Awards.
that's what
unless
I was
it's
about
the
to say.
Boskies.
That's what I was about to say. Like that Game Awards would be our show.
Hmm. All
All
right.
right. All right, Pat, take it away.
So, by the time you're listening to this, it should actually be very close to Christmas, I hope. I gotta remember the release schedule, but if it's not Christmas, it's just right after Christmas. And as part of the EXP cast, my original podcast, we had a Christmas tradition of gathering together by the Yule log and telling a festive story about how someone saved Christmas. And so, as part of the boss rush, I wanted to bring you this story to you, this tradition. So please, gather up your please brew yourself a cup of hot cocoa with your finest marshmallows. Sit next to that toasty log, but not too close to it. You don't want
Mhm.
to catch on fire.
No.
Yeah. but at least have that comforting blanket. Turn the lights down low.
Snuggle
Feel
with
yourself.
your cats.
Yep.
Oh,
And get ready for a Christmas tale of how Leon S. Kennedy saved Christmas. So, this is a tale about Resident Evil's Leon S. Kennedy. We know him as a badass who saved the president's daughter. But did you know that before he saved the president's daughter, he saved Christmas years prior, which is why he became then the president's Secret Service guy, or whatever. But after the whole Raccoon City.
Sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. Can you just say a quick sentence or two for maybe non-EXP listeners who've heard this for the first time, like what we're about to do? Like we're gonna
Oh,
go round
okay.
robin, blah blah blah. Sorry.
Fine, I'll
Sorry.
explain the rules.
Sorry.
All right,
somebody
guys,
had to keep him
kick
straight.
out that blanket. Let's go over the rules
I'll
before
keep the
we jump
blanket on.
again.
We're just gonna establish some ground rules.
Turn the lights on. It's over.
Aw.
No.
Pat's like,
Okay, so this is a round.
to see this book opening. Close the book.
Yeah. Stephanie's like, hey, I got a question. What is it? Okay, so what this is it's a round robin. Basically, I will come up with the premise of the story, and then we will each take kind of few sentences, just adding to the story, and then the next person would have to add on to the story. And we decided we're going to try and keep this one relatively short this year, just so we can keep it in the episode. But we figure we'll probably do like 3 rounds where each of us adds 3 parts to the story, and then we'll come up with a conclusion. But it's just a kind of fun way to explore our favorite video games, whatever the theme is this year, and just get those little creative juices going, and give you guys a little treat that maybe you haven't quite heard before. So put that blanket back on, turn the lights down low, and I will open up the tome of how Leon S. Kennedy saves Christmas. We good, Steph? I'm looking at you. Did you go to the bathroom? Okay. All right. So, going back to where I was, before Leon saved the president's daughter, he saved a little holiday known as Christmas. This was after the Raccoon City event, and Albert Wesker has moved on to bigger and greater things. He has come up with a plan to be able to spread the T virus the best way he knows how, through kidnapping Santa and stuffing all the presents with T virus.
No.
Enter Leon S. Kennedy. The president has given Leon S. Kennedy a task. Go and save Christmas. We have received a distress signal from the North Pole, and we feel that Albert Wesker is up to no good again. Only you, Leon, can save it, because Chris is busy punching boulders right now, and Jill is nowhere to be seen. So only you
What, is
can
she
do
off
this.
playing bingo?
She is off playing bingo. So who wants to take on the next part?
I'll go.
All right.
I'll go. All right. So we catch our hero in a diner, and like Leon's just sitting there, like he's nursing his third cup of hot chocolate, in the diner and stuff like that. Just thinking about things, particularly a woman in a nice red dress, and suddenly there's a crash through the window, and everybody that's in the diner like either hits the ground, starts running, but Leon just turns around casually and looks and notices that someone just chucked a brick into the diner through the window. So, in his true fashion, he gets up, he adjusts his leather jacket that everyone knows so well with the nice froofy collar. He goes
And the
over, he picks
full
up.
lining because, it's wintertime. He needs to keep
Oh
warm.
yeah, oh yeah. And he goes and he picks up the brick and he takes a look at it, and it just has 2 words on it: "Bite me." and he thinks about it for a second. He's like, why would someone throw a brick in here that says "bite me"? But what he does not know is that the person that threw the brick is actually the unknown assailant from Umbrella, the one, the only Hunk, the Grim Reaper himself.
Dang.
The other survivor that got away from the Raccoon City incident. And Hunk stands there casually outside the window watching Leon, and Leon turns around, steps outside, and next thing you know, Hunk just says, it was my problem, but now it's your problem. Go. And he turns around and walks away. And Leon just stands there completely confused because all he wants to do is just drink his hot chocolate, and this guy just like ruined his fun. Stephanie, go.
Leon drops the brick and goes, "Oh, it always falls on me." And he turns around at the diner, oh dear diner that he is sitting in, and he tells Rose, the waitress, "Put it on my tab." And she fans herself. She never thought she could find anyone better, more handsome, more heroic than her writer, Alan Wake, who is lost in the darkness somewhere, although she's left several Alex Casey lunchboxes to help her hero come back. But she'll anything for you. I mean, Leon Kennedy, I will put that on your tab. Leon adjusts his coat and goes, "What a weirdo." And he goes, hops into his car and starts driving, looks on his computer as the best way to get to the North Pole. But how can he get to the North Pole? I mean, he's in the continent of North America. He needs to find a way. But as he's driving, a car rears him off to the side. No, a motorcycle thrashes into his car, and they collide into the ravine, and the smoke clears. And then Leon Kennedy gets out of the car, whips his pistols out, and LeRon, you have something to say?
No. I want to go next.
Okay. Well, I might ruin
you
it for
gotta
you.
wait your turn, sir.
Pulls
Okay,
out his
okay.
pistol.
Round
In
robin.
the clearing stood a silent protagonist. And there's Link standing there, hands him a scroll, and says, "I must come with you."
It's not a story of if Stephanie doesn't pull out Zelda.
But don't worry, it doesn't have to be a major character, but it is the art of the silent protagonist with the quippy dark hero. ...
And in typical Leon fashion, he's like, no. And then he walks away. Realizing that he...
This guy is so casual.
Realizing that he is still thousands upon thousands of miles from the North Pole. He is debating how on earth he's going to get there. But then he hears a familiar voice who's like, "Are you going my way?" And out steps a very naked leg that came out of a slit of a very long red dress. And that leg belonged to one Ada Wong. And she says, "Hop in, Leon. We're going to go save Christmas together." And so they get into her ultra high speed helicopter and fly to the North Pole post haste. Leon, of course, wonders, does she have ulterior motives? I have not seen her since Raccoon City, and I assume that she was dead. But I know she's a bad guy. Or is she? I don't know, but that leg certainly is hot. And I can't think of anything else. But I should. But I'm Leon, and this is my kryptonite. Your turn, LeRon.
All right, yeah. So the sleigh ride is uneventful until Leon finally snaps out of it and asks her, "What the hell are we doing?" I just saw your former mercenary Hunk throw a brick through a diner window, and all I was trying to do was get away from the chaos of that diner, and all of a sudden I get slammed into by a motorcycle with some weird sword wielding person that just flexes at me and then runs off. And now you're here, Ada. I know this is your doing. So what is it? And don't lie. And Ada looks at him and she asks him, "Why would you think I would lie?" And he's like, "Come on, Ada, we have history. You know how this goes." And she's like, "Okay, but do you know that Albert Wesker is involved in this?" And Leon only knows about Albert Wesker from different briefings because he never met Albert Wesker himself, but he knows from tellings from Rebecca Chambers as well as Jill Valentine that this guy is a problem. And he's like, "Okay, what is one of the former heads of Umbrella have to do at Christmas this year?" And Ada just tosses him an envelope, and she says, "Look inside." Leon opens the envelope. He looks inside. There's a picture and a piece of paper. He looks at the picture first, and he definitely sees what looks like it's a liquor, but this is a liquor that he's never seen before because it's all clad in black, and the claws have like some weird like designs on them and stuff like that. And then as he examines the picture even more, he notices there's a silhouette in the background, and she looks like a witch. And so Leon's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Have you ever heard of the?" And Ada asks him, "Have you ever heard this thing called this magic called witch time?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Well," and Ada says, "Well, I will just tell you that Wesker's main accomplice for this is a woman named Cereza, but a lot of people know her better as Bayonetta. Dot dot dot."
Oh no, this can't be, Leon mutters to himself as he quickly stuffs the photo back into the envelope and hands it back to Ada. Are you sure it's connected? And she nods and goes, and I'm here to help. And Leon's like, since when do you care about other people or about anyone else? She says, don't you worry about it. It has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Santa never came to my house as a little child. I don't have any personal vendettas against the red suited man. Leon's like, whatever you say, but you just know at the end of this, we will be parting and going our separate ways. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The copter enters a frigid tundra. Nothing but snow-blown winds and just miles and miles of ice. The helicopter touches down into a barren land known as the North Pole. A singular lamppost and a sign is covered in blood. They step out of the helicopter, and as the helicopter flies away, a bomb out of nowhere explodes the helicopter. Because in every Resident Evil, for some reason, the person flying the helicopter dies. Ada shrugs and says, we'll figure our way out of it. They walk along. They're cold. Ada, her legs, they're shivering, and all Leon wants to do was to give her her coat. But when he does, she smacks his arm away and says, do you think I need help from you? Then out of nowhere, red, blue, yellow, green, little tiny monsters come rushing from behind them, all squeaking high pitched at the top of their lungs. They are Pikmin coming in waves to attack them. Leon rolls his eyes. So does Ada. And they blast the hell out of the Pikmin. And then they continue walking. In the distance, they see the silhouette of Santa's workshop and crowds of infected T-virus elves protecting the fortress that is. Leon leans over to Ada and goes, how do you want to handle this? ...
It is like, well, before we should handle those elves, maybe we want to take a look at that big giant ice dragon in the background that's making things remarkably colder. And Leon's like, "What ice dragon?" But then when all of a sudden he sees coming flying at them is a Velkhana. I think that's what it's called. Is that what
You're
it's
right.
called?
Yep, Velkhana.
Sees Velkhana with its icy breath freeze all the little T-virus gnomes and elves. They're not gnomes, they're elves. And Leon's like, think just because they're bigger that they're better than me? Well, I'll just have to show them that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. And so he and Ada split up and they start tackling against the Velkhana, dodging its icy breath. And the Velkhana swipes over at Leon. Leon deftly blocks it though with his knife. The Velkhana swipes again, and Leon blocks it again with his knife. And finally, it goes up and tries to bite, but Leon sticks its knife into the mouth. But that's when the knife shatters. Leon no longer has any protection. The dragon is about ready to eat him, but that is when Ada comes around with her grappling hook and starts jumping onto the creature and riding it like a bucking bronco, trying to crash it into any little ice wall that she can find. But then she gets a better idea. I'm gonna drive this dragon straight into the factory so that we can find ourselves an opening. So that's what she does, and knocks the dragon out cold. Leon thought maybe this would be a good time to harvest it for parts, but he realized that his knife was broken, and he had no
Ah,
way to break it, so he had to continue on with his mission. Dot, dot, dot.
Suddenly, as Ada and Leon try to walk away, suddenly the ground turns black. And all of a sudden, these whispery fibers that takes a moment for them to realize that's hair is coming to surround them. And then they hear the line, "Naughty, naughty. Why would you hurt my Velkana? Why would you do that?" And they turn around, they look, and they see a lady that's clad in white like she's in a wedding dress. And Ada tells Leon, "This is it. That's Bayonetta." And Leon looks and he's like, "No, it's not." The lady in that picture was all in black. And Ada's like, "You fool! Why do you never believe anything with your own two eyes?" And Bayonetta turns around and she says, "If you two are going to bicker like this, I have better things to do with my time, such as sick my new pet on you and out of the blackness from the hair jungle. Leon's main nemesis that he encountered long ago in the depths of Raccoon City shows up. The liquor, but it's not like a liquor he's ever seen before. It's all black and it looks like this its skin is just on the verge of melting off. But it's definitely the liquor because he can never forget that scream. And they hear, "My dear pet, please make good sport of them because I have things I have to fulfill." And Bayonetta takes off, leaving the liquor behind. Which, at this point, Ada knows what she's looking at. This is a magically enchanted bioorganic weapon from Raccoon City. This is something Leon has never faced before, and Leon's had quite a few trials. Ada tells Leon, "Follow my lead on this one." And Leon says, "If you're going to do what you did to the dragon, the ice dragon, it's all yours." Dot, dot, dot.
so Ada leaps up into the air and uses her. I almost call it a hook shot. What's it called again?
Grapple hook.
It
Grapple
technically is a
shot.
hook shot. This is
A
the
hook shot.
grapple
The
shot.
grapple hook, and the grapple hook digs it into the licker's flesh as it screams and curdles Leon Kennedy's blood. It thrashes around, but Ada is able to mount the licker as she shoots in the back of the head repeatedly. But she begins to sweat because the licker seems to continuously gain momentum and strength and power. She hangs on with all her might and says, "Leon, come do something, will ya?" Leon struggles for his gun, but it gets knocked out of his hand. And amidst the struggle, out of the shadows, pops out a man, his hair covering his face, his eyes wide and completely confused. And he's like, "Oh, oh, the darkness, use this!" He throws Leon Kennedy a flashlight. And Leon's like, "What the hell do you expect me to do with this?" "The light, the light! The shadows are afraid of the light!" Leon rolls his eyes and flashes the light at the licker. It does nothing. Of course, he throws the flashlight on the ground and says, "Ada, I'll be right back." He runs towards the corner of the building, sees a rickety door, kicks it open with his roundhouse kick, and sees his friend, the merchant, as he opens up his coat. "What are you buying?" Leon's like, "We've got a bioweapon, but it is magically enhanced. This is not like an enemy we've ever seen before. Ada's hanging in tight. She's putting in bullets, but we need something. A special weapon." "Well, I got this bazooka." No, no, no. We need something stronger, better, more clever than the bazooka." And the merchant rubs his chin, even though you can't see his face. And he goes, "Well, I do think I have one more thing behind here. And it is ... dot, dot, dot.
A magical hair tonic. Give this to your lady friend. And she will know what to do with it. So Leon just like stares at the bottle. He's like, I guess. So Ada, I got this bottle of magical hair tonic. Told me to give it to you. Ada thinks quick,
Here's the
pours the
bottle
hair
of
tonic on
conditioner.
her, and then all of a sudden does a sexy dance, and the hair starts flying wild and starts attacking the liquor. It turns itself into a giant crow, and it starts eating the hair of the liquor. And finally, it devours it all, leaving Bayonetta very scantily clad because that liquor was made out of her hair. And Leon's like, "Is it cold in here, or is it just you?" And Ada looks at him. It's like, "No, don't, just don't."
So this is obviously the Leon from the Resident Evil movie. From Resident Evil 5, because this is definitely not Leon from the games.
And so Leon goes over and he cuffs Bayonetta, saying, "I'm taking you in for destruction of Christmas. But quickly, tell me where Adel, Albert Wesker. Tell me where Albert Wesker is." And she's like, "He was never here to begin with. He sent me in his place to destroy Christmas, but you ruined our plans. And this time he will take it personally, and he will come after you at a future date, undetermined. But just know this isn't over yet." So they take Bayonetta away. They find Santa stuffed in a closet. It's like, "Santa, we're sorry that you had to go through this. There's still time. You can save Christmas." And Santa's like, "Ho, ho, ho, Leon, you were a good boy. And so I present to you a new leather jacket so that you may have a different leather jacket in each game that you show up in." And he turns to Ada and he's like, "For you, Ada, I will give you another grappling hook because I don't know what else to give you." I don't know. Anyways, yep. So they, Ada and Leon leave North Pole, hitching a ride with Santa in his sleigh. ... Dot, dot, dot. That's you, LeRon.
I know.
Before LeRon starts, leaving Alan Wake cold, alone, confused, without a flashlight, and no presents.
In a very dark place known as the North Pole, which will not see sun for another few months.
No!
So, in Santa's dungeon, where they left a locked up Bayonetta, someone comes to the door and looks, and is like, and we hear a voice, "Poor Cereza, what have you gotten yourself into this time?" And with a snap of her fingers, the bars dissolve, and she walks in. The lady clad in an entire red leather jumpsuit.
Mm-mm.
And Bayonetta looks up and like, "What took you so long, John?" And John looks at Bayonetta and says, "I noticed that you have a problem." And she reaches down, she takes off her glasses, and she's like, "This magical enchantment is the reason why you caused so much trouble." And she crushes them and gives Bayonetta her real eyeglasses. "We have to go find that bastard Wesker who did this to my best friend," John says, "because there is no way that a witch of the order would ever ruin Christmas the way you did." The end.
I like that. Good job, LeRon.
Bayonetta is never the villain. Never the villain.
Oh. Look at that. Oh my God. I really love that story. A lot of good cameos. Never overstayed their welcome. It was great.
Sorry,
Poor
Lane.
Alan Wake.
Let me come with you. Leon, no. Walks away.
I had to follow up with a Pikmin. I'm like, all right, we're gonna have another Nintendo appearance, but they're gonna be immediately obliterated.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a ton of fun. Pat, thank you so much for bringing this tradition to the Boss Rush podcast. LeRon, thank you for being a really good sport. I think we actually got a lot of great lines in this one. I really liked it.
LeRon, you did a great job too. Like, honestly,
thanks.
you were
I feel
worried
like I
so much
fumbled in
about
a few places.
No, I mean you were worried so much about this coming into it, and I think you honestly carried the story.
Seriously.
You threw me the Velcana part though. I will say that right now.
Yeah.
I was not ready for a Monster Hunter appearance.
Well, no, I was thinking like once we started realizing that we were going into like other video game territories, I'm like, what monster could I throw in here that's pure ice and like North Pole? Velcana sound like a good one.
Yeah.
I actually had to look up its name really fast. But yep. All right. Well,
all right. That was fun.
Yep.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy up, I think.
All right.
Wrap this up like a Christmas gift. Put it under the tree.
Well, that's our show for the night. We want to thank everyone for watching and or listening to the Boss Rush podcast. Before we go, do the thing, check the show notes, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us in podcast land out there. You'll get all the information for how to get in contact and stay in contact with us. We're always looking to submit for questions, so submit them and we will answer them as they come in and things of that nature. Also, don't forget, we want to thank our patrons, and if you want to become a patron yourself, just look at the show notes. Pat, Stephanie, this was fun. I actually had a blast with story time. I did.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for the next one.
Nice.
All right, we're gonna sign off. This has been episode. Wait, is this 212 or 213?
This is 212.
It's 212. All right, episode 212 of the Boss Rush podcast. You guys have a good night, and we will see you in the
next year.
In the new year. So long. Take care. Be merry. Don't kill family.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
And may 2024 not suck as bad as 2023.
If you want to be a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/bossrushmedia and find out which tier is right for you. Our Patreon producers at the $5 tier or higher for this month are Adriel Munger, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dierig, Francisco Santillan, and Rebecca Jewell. Thank you for your continued support.